And so we know we've got those tools at our use. And next week, and I'm not going to do anything on videos really today, but next week when Charles or Chris or whatever his name is, Charles comes in, he will do some work around your videos and your management, your content. So I'm not going to do anything about that today, but there is another one called Vimeo. Sometimes you get on a site and they're using Vimeo, which is fine. It all does the same kind of thing. Do you have to use all of them? No, you don't. I only use YouTube and ClickView, only two things that I use. So, and I make my movies in iMovie. So you don't have to use all three tools. Please don't go and use all three tools. You don't need to. So next week we'll focus on that. As far as your photos go, last week Instagram was great. Someone asked me, about that last week, and I was thinking Instagram, just by virtue of its name, is instant. So it's those things that you want to share with kids or your staff straight away. They're not probably not things that I would use to store all my work samples on, because I'd probably want to have them organised somewhere. So for that purpose, I would probably take all my photos and put them into Google, and I've got all my photos in my Google Drive, and I can share those with the kids and organise them and all those sorts of things. But you do also have the option of using Flickr, and Flickr's pretty cool because you can get a lot of Creative Commons licensed photos through Flickr, and you can use those sorts of things. So Flickr might be something that you can go, oh, there's something else I could use. Pixabay, Nancy, can you? I'll guess it was Nancy that put that one in.
Again, this is free photos in terms of copyright, so they're actually licensed Creative Commons, so you can actually use them without having to worry that you're using someone's licensed material. And again, just attributions are there as well. I've noticed though I can get blocked if I've blocked all those.
Oh, is it blocked? Is it?
Yeah. But it's great. It's got some very modern images in there, so if you're looking for something, you don't have to sort through it. All of the images there are published on Creative Commons, so you don't have to filter it. You have to do with Flickr, you have to know how to filter so that you get Creative Commons images.
And there are ways of searching for those photos as well. And I'll think of one of the tools as we talk. But it's a nice, neat ways of finding the Creative Commons licensed attributions that you can use with your kids. So if it was me, I'd stick with Google and start with them, and then look at other ways of managing your photos. But you'll probably find if you use something like a Mac, for example, it quite often gives you Flickr as an option to share your photos to. I use the photos, obviously the iCloud photos, because it means whatever I take on my phone appears on my iPad, appears on my machine. So it means I've got all my photos across all my devices. Anything that I save in Google, for example, it goes into Google Drive, so I've got all my Google photos there. So you can see it can become quite a management problem after a little while, thinking, I've got this photo, where is it? Where did I put it? Did I put it? Is it in my iCloud? Did I take a photo? If I took a photo on my device, it could be in two places. It could be photos. It could be in photos on my drive. So it could be in Flickr. So you need to think through what's your management strategy, and your management strategy might be just stick everything in Flickr. You go to one source and you go, let's just go to Flickr. There are all my photos. I've got them all sorted. Or, gee, they're all in Google Drive because I can share it under the domain. Here are all my photos. It's just where they are. So it just makes your life a little bit easier. As far as your podcasts go, as I said, we've been using SoundCloud. It's free up to a point, and then you've got to pay after so many minutes, which is a bit of a problem. But it's a nice hosting system. It does then allow you to write directly to iTunes, so you can record your podcast directly into SoundCloud. At the moment, we're uploading our stuff into SoundCloud, but you can use SoundCloud, record your podcast in it, edit it, etc., and then you can push it out to iTunes. And the only thing the kids do is get a feed from iTunes. So every time there's a new podcast, they will get it. You can have a little channel, and we can set those up. The other tool is Audacity, which you can have a look at. We might have a look at a little bit later, and that gives you some tools for doing some nice, simple podcasting. But we start in GarageBand, very simple to do. Record what you want to record, and then you can push it up into iTunes, or you can push it up into SoundCloud, or however you want to manage your various sounds. The podcasts that we're recording are kind of one-offs that it's only relevant to the kids at the moment, so we don't care whether we lose them or not. It's only relevant just to this group of kids. If, on the other hand, you want to record a podcast that is material, you really need to have it sorted somewhere again. So you might have a SoundCloud library, or you might want to go to iTunes and have it as part of your course and have them there that you can point the kids to. They can go and listen to those podcasts. They can be as short as you like. They can be as long as you like. So I've had a look at some guys talking about podcasting in science, and they've got podcasts that last for an hour. And so they're just talking through the concepts with the kids, and they can stop it, and they can come back to that exact point and listen to it over a number of hours or days even. They don't have to listen to an hour. They don't need to listen to it for an hour continuously. So you can have them for as long as short as you want. My advice is talk to your kids. What's their attention span like? We're making 10-minute videos, and the kids are saying they're too long. So by the time they watch them, stop, start, learn some terms, go on, what does that mean, and make their notes, a 10-minute video might take them 30 to 40 minutes to kind of watch end to end. Same with the podcast, although it could be a little bit different as you're talking through these various concepts. So before you start on any of these things, the decision is, do I need them? Don't go and make a podcast and then go, that was a waste of time. I now know how to make a podcast, give myself a tick, but to what end, to what purpose am I going to make a podcast? Should I be making videos? Should I just have photos? Think that one through before you go and do these. And we'll show you these tools at the end just to walk through. Just stop me if you've got a question or you want to clarify or think about those things. Wikis, I suppose they're little websites is a good way of putting it. I'll play this little video, Common Craft. You can get kids to make these little Common Craft videos themselves. They're pretty easy to make. Kids have fun, cut stuff out and do those sorts of things. But I thought I'd play this and we'll talk about the limitations as well, because that's really important when we do these sorts of things, because sometimes you head off on a journey and you think, this is pretty cool and I really love this, and you find out there are these little limitations that kill you in the end. But I think you'll see what it is quite quickly in this video.
Have a night off cooking and let local chefs cook for you tonight. Eat Now is the easy way to eat with thousands of restaurants online.
Yep.
These four friends are going on a camping trip. They need to bring the right supplies because they're backpacking. The group needs to plan and plan well, so coordination is key. They're all computer users, so they start planning with an email. It starts with one, but then becomes a barrage. Email is not good at coordinating and organizing a group's input. This is the old way. Boo! The important information is scattered across everyone's inbox. This isn't coordination. Let's start over. There is a better way. It requires you using a website called a wiki. Using a wiki, the group can coordinate their trip better. This is the new way. Yay! Most wikis work the same. They make it easy for everyone to change what appears on a web page with a click of a button. It's as easy as erasing a word and rewriting it. The buttons are really important. There are two that are essential. They are edit and save, and they are always used together. Let's see them in action. Here are our camping friends, and this is a wiki website. Like all wikis, it has an edit button. Clicking this button transforms the web page into a document. All you have to do is click it, and the web page becomes a document ready for editing. Editing the page means you can add or remove words or change how they look, just like writing a letter. Once you're finished editing, you click Save, and the document becomes a web page once again and is ready for the next person to edit it. Easy. Edit, write, and save. Using this process, a group can coordinate more easily. Let's apply this to our camping friends who need to bring the right supplies. Mary signs up for a wiki site and then sees the new site for the first time. She clicks the edit button to get started. She creates two lists for camping, what we have and what we need. Under We Have, she lists the things she will bring, a cooler, stove, and flashlight. Under We Need, she lists items that others need to bring, compass, lighter, water, and food. She finishes the process by clicking Save, and the website now has lists for the camping trip. Now it's John's turn. John visits the wiki website, clicks edit, and the page becomes a document ready for him to make changes. John volunteers to bring food and water, so he moves those to the have column. He also realizes the group will need a knife and rope. Once he's finished, he clicks save, and the wiki is ready for the next person. Henry visits the wiki, clicks edit, and he can edit the page. He remembers they need a 10. Henry saves the page, and the wiki is ready for Frank. Frank edits the page and agrees to bring the remaining items, completing the process. Frank saves the page and realizes something awesome. The group has created the perfect camping list without email. Yay! But wait, one thing is missing. They need a location for the campsite. The wiki can help with this too, but another page is needed. John visits the wiki and clicks edit to edit the page. He types in the word locations and highlights it. He then clicks the link button. This changes the word locations into a link to a new page. John clicks save, and next, Frank visits the wiki and sees the list and the link to the new page. He clicks on the locations link and arrives at the new page. This new page enables the group to use the same edit, write, save process to coordinate locations. This process can be repeated over and over. These three buttons, edit, save, and link, make it possible to organize a great camping trip or create the world's biggest encyclopedia. You can sign up for your own wiki at these websites: PBWiki, WetPaint, or Wikispaces. I'm Lee Lefevre, and this has been Wikis in Plain English on the Common Craft Show.
Okay, so what's the limitation? One at a time, that's right. So if you have 30 kids in a class and one wiki, it's one kid at a time, which isn't going to work in that context. So there's not a lot of point, say, in setting up a wiki if you want 30 kids to be able to get on there all in at one time. It's just not going to work. And you could do it so that they've each got their own page, for example, which is fine, but you've got to think, for what purpose are you going to set up this particular wiki? So this is one we started in PE some time ago. It's just not rendering well with the screen at the moment. As you can see, we ended up with lots of pages. The kids were the ones that were mostly responsible for maintaining this page and putting their data up and all those sorts of things, some of which are more completed than others. But it's really tedious. What can happen is that you can end up with one kid being in and gets halfway through their edits, another kid comes in and tries to edit, then the wiki says, oh, I'm really confused, and one kid managed to save it and saves their changes and overwrites all the other changes that the kids have made, and then they lose all those changes and those sorts of things. So if you want to collaborate, wikis are really not the best tool to use for that particular purpose. However, if you want to create a nice way of keeping up a lot of information, then a wiki is a good alternative to a website. So you might want to keep your websites nice and lean in terms of the information that you have, and you might consider setting up a wiki with multiple pages for lots of different information that you want to keep live. And it kind of works if you're sharing your wiki with your teachers and you're sharing your Google Documents with the kids.
That's a really stupid question. If you've got, say, Google Sites, can you actually put a link to your wiki from the
Yeah.
site? You can.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So that can become yet another source of information that's being put together.
That's right. So what we started this, I started this before we had such a thing as Google Docs. Wikis were kind of out, and this is great, kids can work collaboratively and all those sorts of things. And then, of course, we found out very, very quickly. So what we used to do is the kids would all work on their own documents and their own parts of the whatever work we were doing, and they would work in a Word document. And then one would go in, edit the page, say, all right, I'm out. And the next kid, oh, it's me. And then they go in and stick their bit in. It was just really tedious. And in some ways it worked okay because the slow kids were the last ones to put their stuff on. So they had a bit more time to work while the other kids were getting all their stuff on. And then you'd have to go through a process of editing, and then the kids would have to wait until everyone's got their stuff on, and they could see that there were mistakes here, and then they'd go in and one at a time and change things, and it just became very, very tedious. However, if it was just, say, Ryan and I in Year 12 using this, it'd be fine because it'd just be two people who would be editing the one site. So I'd imagine you could share this with your department, for example, and your